Hi, I'm Kate Krieger-Watkins with Mason County Press's The Scoop, and today we are here at Victory Early Childhood Center, which is an umbrella early childhood center under Mason County Central Schools, with Angie Taylor, and you are the director here.
That is correct, Kate, and thanks for having me on the second episode of The Scoop.
You're welcome. And this week is kind of special, and we're going to get into this in a little bit, but it is Teacher Appreciation Week, Educators Appreciation Week, so that's something kind of near and dear to your heart.
It is near and dear to my heart because so many people touch the lives of our children at Mason County Central and at Victory Early Childhood Center from the time they're picked up in the morning by our bus drivers, fed breakfast and lunch by our food service, interacting with our teachers, our instructional assistants, our administrators, and to the end of the day when they're taken home to their homes, to their families.
Absolutely. And it's a little bit, it's close to my heart too, because I was raised by an educator, not for Mason County Central Schools, but for Leadington. But we're going to talk about all educators and instructional assistants and everybody that has something to do with the educational system.
Absolutely. There's some great stuff going on in the region right now.
Cool. So I just want to touch on a couple headlines that you can read on Mason County Press right now. And Allison Scarborough, who is the editor for the Oceana County Press and one of the writers from Mason County Press, is going to be talking to the victim of the Free Soil shooting that happened a couple weeks ago. They're going to be talking to his mother. So if you want to read more about that, head on to Mason County Press. And also, Mason County just launched a Veterans Affairs office, and it's located at the Lakeshore Resource Center, which is on Tinkham Avenue in Leadington. That also houses Michigan Works and a lot of other nonprofit establishments. And veterans can go there and receive different benefit information, medical information, and just overall help for things that they are privy to that maybe people who haven't served are privy to. So they just hired somebody to kind of take over that role. It's a brand new thing that the state is doing, so I think my husband's a veteran, and there's a lot of times where he has questions about things and he has to like call Lansing or call Battle Creek to one of the big centers down there. So it'll be kind of nice to have something a little more local for that.
Way to go, Mason County.
Yeah. And if we look outside, the rain is supposed to stop by the afternoon, and it's supposed to get up to like into the low 60s, so I'm a little happy about that. And our weather is always brought to you by Smith & Eddy Insurance. So I also want to mention that the Scoop today is brought to you by Safe Harbor Credit Union, where they're offering a 3% interest-bearing checking account. So you can go on to their website to check that out. So let's get to talking about a little bit more about education.
Perfect.
All right. So tell me a little bit about Victory here and what you offer and how people can kind of get involved with their child's education here.
Okay. At Victory, we offer a combination of private tuition-based preschool programs and also the Great Start Readiness preschool program, which is state-funded and often free for parents. And then another service that I'm very proud of that we offer to our families is our Wraparound Child Care Center. So from 7:30 to 5:30, we have the option for those families to also stay for daycare services. So many
that's nice.
of our children are here for up to 10 hours a day.
Okay.
Right now, regionally, everybody is recruiting for the next school year.
Right.
So we're really looking for those little kiddos in the community that will be 3 or 4 on or before September 1st.
And this applies not just to Scottville schools, it applies to every school system of kids going into preschool in the state of Michigan.
Yes, absolutely. And even regionally, our Leadington, our Custer, our Pentwater, our Oak Trees, everybody is enrolling right now.
Right.
The only difference might be, Kate, that some programs might not offer a 3-year-old program. Some might not have the Great Start Readiness preschool grant. However, if you call any of us, we're going to direct you where you need to go.
Great.
And we're also going to do a pre-referral form with you that if our programs don't meet your needs, we can refer you also to our local Head Start, which is ran by 5CAP.
Cool. And let's talk a little bit about GSRP, Great Start. It is 4-year-old only.
That is correct. They need to be 4 on or before September 1st of 2019.
And explain a little bit more about the difference between GSRP or the similarities between GSRP and your tuition-based program for those 4-year-olds.
GSRP is a full day school model here at Victory. So those kids go from 8:30 to 3 o'clock Monday through Thursday. With our private tuition programs, they're a half-day model, 3 hours. But the real difference in the curriculum that I get from parents, and the question is, how come one is full day and how come one is half day? But when you look at the GSRP curriculum, we have them here all day, so we're feeding them breakfast, lunch, snack, we are napping, we are hand washing a lot, we are toileting more. So I always tell my private tuition programs, you're really not missing out, because once we take those things off GSRP, which are important, social, emotional, learning, communication, it's still a benefit for your child to get those 3 solid hours of core academics.
Sure.
Curriculum-wise, the difference is GSRP regionally uses creative curriculum, but we are making a move next school year in the region to Connect 4, which has a lot of similarities. We have objectives that we look at that really look at all abilities of the child, from fine motor to gross motor to cognitive, social, emotional, mathematics, ELA. And then with the Montessori curriculum, they too are looking at all those areas. The one thing that is unique with Montessori in particular here at Victory is we teach to the individual child in that program.
Right. Okay.
Meaning if little Katie's daughter has this huge interest in art and she knows her secondary, her primary colors, and her artists, and nobody else in that classroom has an interest, the teacher will take that child on in that area, even if nobody else has an interest.
That's cool. I mean, I think it's really important that they establish those interests at a young age and really make those blossom, because a lot of times there's not the ability or the time really to, individualize that education. And I know with state regulations and mandates now and stuff, it's becoming harder and harder, but it's nice to see that that's still happening. So let's talk about you a little bit.
Yes.
So how long have you been here?
I have been at Mason County Central since 2000.
Okay.
Prior to 2000, I had the opportunity to work at the Family Independence Agency, going home and doing in-home therapy with victims and families of child abuse and neglect and sexual assault. So I've been around in the community a long time doing some of that work. And then it was a natural transition when Dan Pedersen called me and said, hey, we have a social worker opening at Mason County Central. We'd like you to come on board. I came over, I interviewed, and I did the social work services for the 2 outer buildings, Victory Elementary and then Riverton Elementary at that time.
Right, yeah.
And then a lot of people remember at that time our population was going down in our outside tiny rural schools. And so we had to make tough decisions about closing those outer buildings. And it was at that time that Chuck Sandro, our superintendent, called me, and I was for sure I was going to get a pink slip. Like, I thought, I'm the social worker for those 2 outer buildings.
Personally, I understand that.
I'm getting the pink slip. And when I went in, he actually said to me, do you remember when you interviewed what you said we were lacking? And I said, absolutely, an early childhood center. And that was the day he handed the keys to me. And he said, the Victory building's there for you. Go make it happen.
Awesome.
So
well,
very
cool.
proud of Victory.
So you've kind of built this.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of your baby.
It is my baby, and it's the community's baby. I can't say enough about the families, the Victory Baptist Church in this community and how much they have supported us. And we're approaching the 20-year mark out here. And it's really, really exciting. I have a set of grandparents in the area that have lived here all their lives. They raised their children. They're now off raising their children. And we call them the Victory grandparents. And they stop by, they drop off donations, they check in on us. But that's how this community is in Victory. They have embraced us and they support us.
That's great. That's really great. And I know not only Scottville district kids come out here.
That is correct.
You have kids from all over the county that have, I don't know if it's school of choice considered yet, but who have gotten on your waiting list or called at the right time and gotten right in and have placed their children out here for that 3-year-old or 3-year-old and 4-year-old or 4-year-old program. So that speaks volumes too.
Yeah.
I think that's,
And what I do pride ourselves in is, yes, of course we would like you to continue at Mason County Central and be a Spartan, but I also pride myself that families nowadays need to look for a program that is unique and can meet their needs. Mm-hmm. And for some, it's having that wraparound child care center on site. For others, it's being close to West Shore because they're in the nursing program and they need to be able to have the flexibility with their schedule. For others, this is their traffic pattern up Stiles Road to go to work in Manistee. So really and truly, there's a lot of factors that families have to consider when they're starting their kids' journey out right.
Oh, it is, because I have a 4-year-old daughter, Lauren, and it was definitely, there's so much that you have to think about. And all of a sudden you don't think about anything, all of that, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, she's going to school now, and I work here, but the school is there, and all this. So yeah, it's a little overwhelming. So why don't you hit upon kind of how people can come out and get information, how they can contact you, get a tour, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
all that kind of thing.
Absolutely. A lot of people in the community know me as Miss Angie. Our number is 843-2410. Give me a call. We make an appointment. We talk about what program might fit your needs. We look at income. My goal is always to try to get you into a free program. We all like free. We all like to save money. I am very flexible with meeting with families. Matter of fact, I have an appointment Friday with a farming family, and with the way the weather's been and planting's been off, he's like, Miss Angie, the only time I have to meet you is in my shop on the farm at 8 o'clock in the morning. Can you come to my farm? I'm like, absolutely, I'm there.
Right.
So we will really make that first phone call. We'll talk it through. We'll make sure you meet the age requirements. We'll talk about the income requirements and also some of the other eligibility factors. And I always encourage my parents and people that call, even if you don't think you're going to make that criteria, that eligibility, call me, come meet with me, because maybe I can send you to a place where you are going to fit.
Right, and I think it's really important for families to check out multiple different establishments to fit that individualized need, where they might check out something here and they're like, this just isn't exactly what we want, so we're going to go somewhere else. Or they might be somewhere else and be like, oh, we really are looking for more of that Montessori model, and come and check it out here, and it's the perfect fit. So I really encourage, I know you do too, for them to really kind of shop around.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's important. And whether or not you live in the Scottville school system, this is still an option for your child to come out here. So all you need to do is call.
Yeah, absolutely. Make the phone call and we'll work through everything.
And make the phone call to wherever you are.
Yes.
If you're having any kind of questions about your child's education, and not just preschool age, there's always that opportunity for you to go in and see what's happening, because it's allowed, go in and check out your kid's school. I think it's important for parents to know what's going on in those schools, and sometimes it can be a little intimidating.
Absolutely. And Kate, a lot of these conversations start with our local pediatricians too.
Yeah.
That we don't have to wait till your child is preschool eligible to ask these questions and inquire. So our local pediatricians do a great job also referring to our West Shore ESD Educational Services District for services like early on, that birth to 3.
Right.
So I always encourage everybody, start early, make the phone calls. Matter of fact, your editor-in-chief was one of the first before his daughter was even a year old, had her on the waiting list, was asking the questions. So it's never too early to start.
No, it's not. So let's turn now to, let's call it Educational Appreciation Week, because it is called Teacher Appreciation Week, but there is that huge umbrella that catches so many of those people. So who was one of your inspirations as a kid? Do you have a special teacher that stands out?
I do have a special teacher. It was actually my 4th grade teacher at Pentwater. His name was Tony Sisson. And one of the things that Mr. Sisson did so wonderfully as a teacher, now looking back as an educator myself, is he taught us how to play chess. Every day, a half hour of our afternoon was dedicated to learning the game. And learning that, yes, there's always winners and losers, but it's the process, it's the thinking, it's the strategic planning.
Yeah.
I just remember that so greatly, that everybody learned. Like, we played all year long. And I've taken a lot of those skills on that as a 4th grader, you don't really know why Mr. Sisson's teaching you this game.
Right.
You think that it's only because it's his favorite. And my other memories with him are our 4th grade camping trip. We went to the school forest as a group of children with our teacher, and we camped for 2 nights. In tents, we cooked our own meals, we had to do all the planning, and I just think of what an experience that was for all of us as a classroom community to work together and to have that experience. I look back on those 2 nights in the woods, and I am not necessarily a tent camper, but it was a wonderful experience that I have carried on. And then another memory for me was he taught us all to hand pull and make taffy. And I just remember all of us at all corners of the classroom pulling this taffy and trying to get that shiny look and the anticipation of getting to try it. So I just really look at the well-rounded education. We had our core academics with Mr. Sisson, but then all the special things he incorporated that I now look back and had so much meaning.
And it's funny because in 4th grade you're 10, and you think about like, oh, you know, what are 10-year-olds learning now and who's impacting their lives, and you still remember this stuff. You were 10, you know, and that made such an impact. And I think that speaks so highly of teachers in general and anybody involved in the education system, whether it's somebody who's serving lunch or an aide out on the playground or a custodian, even a bus driver, a teacher, you know, they come in contact with these kids so often, and it's those things that you remember for the rest of your life. That, you know, when my mom passed away, we had a lot of people come and they would say like, oh, your mom changed my life, and we're like, you were either in 5th grade or 3rd grade, so you're either like 11 or 9, and my brother and I would be like, changed your life? Okay, you were 9, you know, but no, it's a true fact. Like, I have so many memories of different teachers that have impacted my life, and I'm 39 years old. I don't think people really understand how much these people make a difference in your kids' lives, whether, you know, it's that direct teacher in the classroom or it's somebody else at the school, because they're with them so much during the week.
We put such a focus on core academics, and core academics are important, but I rewind, and this is what I'm so proud about with Victory Early Childhood Center and Mason County Central in general. We have really put a focus on relationship building. That if we don't have those relationships from the entry into school, whether it's preschool, kindergarten, or you even come to us in middle school, we have to form relationships, and we have to be good at it. And we have to then, once we form those relationships and we understand and we become non-judgmental, the education piece will come for all of our children. So that is something I'm definitely Spartan proud about, and something we do really good at Mason County Central. And here at Victory Early Childhood Center, I have a consistent staff. They haven't turned over, and they too get that. That yes, a lot of our kids are coming in with eligibility factors, and we need to form relationships before we can get anywhere else. I got a phone call also this week from a previous Montessori preschool student here at Victory, and he is going to get honored on Saturday, a week from this Saturday, as an Eagle Scout. And I got the phone call a couple weeks ago to ask if I would write a letter on behalf of him.
Oh, that's great.
And so that was another proud moment for me, because he was one of those kiddos that came into Victory. He wasn't too sure about being here. And he had a great, successful year, still keep in contact with the family, and I am so proud of him that he has met his goal of being an Eagle Scout.
That's awesome. I think it's really important to remember, too, that there's a lot of, you know, issues in the home that we don't know about, that we just need to touch upon, that those families sometimes are a little more intimidated or timid to come into the school system because they might have had a bad experience when they were a child or something like that. But I want people to really understand, and I think you do too, that schools, the people that are surrounding your child on a daily basis are really trying to make those impactful, positive interactions.
We're here to help.
Yeah, and not only with school things.
Absolutely.
You know, so I feel like with you and everybody else that I know in the area, if there's an issue at home that the school possibly could help with, you can ask.
Absolutely.
And I don't
reach out and ask.
feel like they should be embarrassed or, you know, scared to do that, because schools have become such more to the community than just educating your child. It's become such a wraparound program in itself too.
Absolutely, and I love that you use the word wraparound, because that was my original training, was we wrap the whole family. We look at all the needs, basic needs, and we build that foundation, and then we build the walls, and then we keep going forward.
It's my social work background.
I know, we share that.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And again, I want you to remember that the Scoop is 2 times a week as of right now for Mason County Press, and we're always looking for advertisers and sponsors and people to come on like Angie did today. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me at Kate@mediagroup31.com. I just got my email address, so you have to forgive me. Or editor@MasonCountyPress.com, or you can find us on Facebook and link up with us there. And again, we are being sponsored today by Safe Harbor Credit Union.